yeah, Z, it'd be great to hear about how you got into rugby, some of the kind of highlights of your time playing so far.
Yeah, sure. So I started playing rugby. Well, the first time I ever touched a rugby ball was at the age of 14. Up until then, I never even knew really what rugby was. I would see it on the TV. It just it looked so messy, like grown men just attacking each other, really confusing. But that's just, flicking through the channels. I never really knew anything about rugby. But on the age of 14, I was in secondary school, and my PE teacher said, right girls, when is your rugby today? And rugby wasn't part of the curriculum. It was like netball, football, the usual stuff, but rugby wasn't part of it. But because she was such a huge rugby fan outside of school, she brought some rugby balls in, and she was like, we're going to do rugby today. And I know it sounds a bit cliche, but touching the ball, and the first time I held the ball and she explained the rules, I just thought, wow, this sport is amazing. And I kind of never really looked back since then. And
what about you, Vahbiz? How's your kind of career panned out?
So in about 2008, I was in our school, our coach, so we have a Pune rugby club in our city. So the coach of that club, he came to introduce the game. He had also invited me and my now teammate Neha Pardeshi, both of us. He had invited us to watch a game that was happening on the weekend. And when we went over there and we saw like all the shapes and sizes playing a 15s game, absolutely enjoying the feel of the ground on their faces and their bodies, it just got us so curious to learn more about this game that the moment our exams were done with, we joined the sport, and there was no looking back for us.
I think it'd be great for people watching who haven't really interacted with the sport that much before to know a little bit about maybe the top kind of moments or the best bits about being involved in rugby from your perspective as well.
Sort of the best bits for me is just people coming together from different walks of life and playing. You all have that one aim to play the sport. And honestly speaking, there's people on my team that I probably wouldn't have the chance to interact with outside of the sport, but because of rugby, it's brought us together, and it's helped me to learn about different people of different backgrounds, different cultures, and it sort of builds it's sort of a character building sort of sport, because you learn to respect other people. And then also for me, it's a massive stress reliever. As I mentioned, I've got kids, so I've got a career in the NHS, in nursing. All of those things are quite stressful. But rugby is a way for me to release that stress, release that energy, to express myself. And I think the thing I love about rugby is that I think even for anyone playing the sport, you're already smashing stereotypes, no matter who you are, but especially for someone like me, people don't necessarily see me and be connect me to rugby. When I tell them I play rugby, they're like, oh my God, really?
There's a lot of commonalities between Z and me here, where we both started or got introduced at late teens, and both of us, we're both in the medical line. She being a nurse and me being a physiotherapist. And having played the sport for now 12, 13 years. So even though I say that there are a lot of differences, there are so many similarities in all of us, and having to manage a work-play balance.
Yeah, and one of the things which I noticed getting involved a bit with Rugby India was just the diverse range of people, where they come from as well. So a lot of the young girls or the young women come from the villages to play, they get to travel to different cities and stuff like that. So yeah, I think from my perspective, having seen very limited kind of insight, it just gives a lot of opportunity as well, which is just, fantastic.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I guess what would you recommend for young girls or young women who see your social media, who might see this video, who are inspired by you as role models and who want to get involved in the sport? What tips do you have?
I think for me, I think sometimes people are scared that they're going to make mistakes, or scared, especially when you hear rugby, you think, contact rugby. That's literally what people think about. But there's other forms of rugby. You've got touch rugby, you've got tag rugby, you've got wheelchair rugby. It's literally a sport that you can there's kind of no excuse not to play. No matter, there's a form for you, I'd always advise people, just try it out. You don't know until you try if you don't like it. And to be honest with you, looking back, if anyone ever told me that I'd be a rugby player, I'd be like, no way. But I tried it and I loved it. And
Bhabiz, what about you, particularly, I guess, in India, because you're involved with the kind of outreach as well? Like, what tips would you give to young, maybe Indian girls and women who are watching?
Firstly, is definitely try out the game. But once you're in the game, don't be disheartened that you've not made it to the next level or the next level. Just keep trying. Do not give up that, there is no progress in this game. There are so many avenues for people to explore, like coaching, refereeing, match officiating, behind the scenes, admin work. And there's an entire ecosystem that is surrounding the athlete. So even if you don't make it as an athlete or you don't make it big in that road, there are 10 other roads that are opening out, and all you got to do is, pick and choose. You literally are in a space where you can do that. So
I think touching on that as well, it comes back to the barriers thing. Like, if you've got barriers in your life which you feel like are stopping you from playing rugby, I guess it'd be great to hear from you both how you've overcome them.
My first hurdle, I guess, or barrier was when I first told my father I wanted to play rugby. He said, rugby is a man's sport, it's just for men. Why do you want to play rugby? And then he said it was an elitist sport. For me, a working class young girl wanted to play rugby. My dad he was just thinking why, and it didn't make sense to him. So I think there's sometimes barriers that come from within your own circle first before you even step out the house. But I overcame that by just sort of being open and honest and say, this is what I want to do. And he never said no, he just didn't understand. And I just went with it. It blows my mind that there's so many people that have missed out on this amazing sport because they don't have access to it. So things like the outreach programs and community programs that's done to get people into rugby. I think there needs to be some change in that. Sometimes you want people to come to us, like as rugby clubs. Rugby is a great sport. You can learn this, you can meet friends, come to us. But I think we need to flip it and actually go to people.
Absolutely, Z. I mean, it's the same globally. Firstly, the misconception that rugby is an elitist man's game. Firstly, it's a man's game. So these concepts are already so driven in all our cultures that men do these things and women are not supposed to, because you're supposed to get married and take care of the home. Initially, it used to feel, I was a teenager, so it used to influence my thoughts that, am I really doing the right thing? But when I started realizing that how rugby is molding me as an individual, I realized that this is beyond just playing the game. It is what it does to you outside the field. And I knew that I wanted to stick with it.
So any thoughts on kind of hopes for the future in terms of rugby specifically? I've got a lot of other ones as well. But...
So in terms of the future of the sport, I believe that all the nations, barring your top 10, all the nations are moving extremely rapidly in terms of their outreach performance on the international scale, which is giving the sport massive eyeballs to look towards it, that whoa, what's just happening here? And this is the time and phase where it's that breakthrough point. You break through the wall finally. So I think the future of the sport globally again is extremely bright.
And I actually hadn't thought about that angle before we talked about the fact that, just being a player, that's one option, but there's actually so many more opportunities as part of this, being part of this community, and that's amazing. So thanks for bringing that one up. And I think the final word goes to you, Z. What are your kind of hopes for the future?
I think, as Vahbiz said, I'm very, very optimistic about rugby, especially women and girls rugby, and especially also just worldwide, but also in the UK. There's been such a massive momentum in the last couple of years, and it's really exciting. Like, I'm really, really excited to see where the game is going to go. And how it all started was, actually, I used to say to myself, I want to, because I'm a real big fan of tea, like drinking tea. Obviously I'm British, so it's probably comes with a stereotype, but Earl Grey tea in particular. Oh, there's Beth's got her cup of tea. Honestly, yeah. So, you know, there's a massive stereotype with like British English people on tea, but I love Earl Grey tea, and I always thought I would love to one day sit back with my tea in hand, be watching England play and see a Muslim woman playing for England. That was sort of my vision. And then, you know, recently through the pandemic and things were happening, I started to think things that were happening at work, seeing people get really ill and the touch and go with life made me realize life is too precious and anything can happen within the blink of an eye. So you need to sort of do what you can, leave your mark in this world, you know, no matter what that may be. And I thought to myself, do you know what? This vision that I have, do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm not going to wait for it to happen. I'm going to be the one to do it. Although I'm a Black woman and Muslim woman, there's so much more to me. You know, I'm a mother. You know, I'm a woman. You know, there's so many other bits of my identity that I feel like you don't even have to look like me to relate to me. You don't have to look like me to inspire, to be empowered by my journey. And it's just about spreading that positivity and hoping that people can look at my journey and be like, do you know what? If Z can do it, I can do it. So that's literally the message.